It's a good time maybe to play Norwich. They got knocked off the top spot midweek. They haven't won in the last 3 league games. Do you feel that way, or do you think it'll just be as tough as ever?
No, I think it'll be as tough as ever, to be honest. I think they've had a great season. Obviously, they would have been one of the favourites to go back up again, and they've been at the top for a long time. So I think you're always going to have a dip, particularly in this league. And, 2 draws and a defeat, I think it's not a huge dip, really. But, they'll be keen to get back to winning ways. So I would imagine, it won't make the task any easier for us. And as I say, for me, when I look at the teams that we've played this season, we've not played a team that I feel are better than Norwich.
When you went to Reading in November, they were particularly high-flying at the moment. You had a great result then, so you could do with a similar performance. But Norwich have kept all their best players in the January transfer window, and they'll be looking for a double over Stoke. How important is it that we get off to a good start in this match?
I think it's important in any game, to be honest. I think, if we look at the game at home, we felt we didn't start well in the game, but ultimately we were punished really by two bits of real quality, in a short space of time in the first half. And we hit the bar ourselves, and then obviously we had to deal with the injury to Stephen Fletcher in that game as well. And so I think, we have to anticipate that Norwich will be on the front foot from the opening minutes of the game. We have to be ready to deal with that. But equally, we have to be brave enough to play ourselves. And, I think that's something that we have. Whilst we've been disappointed with some of the results we've had, I think we've been pleased with a lot of aspects of our performances in terms of possession we've had, the control we've had in games against good sides. And again, we have to try and replicate that again on Saturday against, as I say, for me, certainly one of the best teams in the league.
It's been another luxury of a full week at training this week. How have the players responded with people like Clark and Matondo and Norrington Davis getting back into the squad and working with players on a full week basis?
Yeah, it's been good, and we've enjoyed. We've had a really tighter group because our numbers are less, and it gives us, I think, more time. A full week that we, as you rightly say, that we've only had in recent times. But as I say, we consistently worked on trying to create and ways that we can create more in the final third of the pitch. If you look at, as I say, we watched the game back with the attacking players and the midfield players, and we had a lot of opportunities in the game against Reading because we had a lot of good play, but we didn't create enough chances from those opportunities. Into good areas. Where we see Nathan Collins very advanced and possibly, picking out the wrong cross or someone maybe not making the right run. And that was our frustration with Saturday in terms of, having had those opportunities, we didn't create enough clear-cut chances from that. So that's what we're consistently working on. We're thinking that as a team, that's the biggest area that we need to try and strive to improve on. It's the hardest part of the game is to create. So, as I say, it's been good to have this week to do that, and particularly with the players that you mentioned who are young players and are obviously learning their trade.
Do you feel that's the only major shortfall at the moment, the final third and the goals? Because it's unfair, I think, to say that the loss of Tyrese, whilst it was a major loss, is the reason that you're not scoring goals, because every team expects other players to chip in. For example, Powell's the leading scorer, but you could do with more goals from midfield as well, couldn't you?
Well, yeah, I think, we haven't had as many goals from midfield. It's not just down to the loss of Tyrese. Of course, it's not. I think Stephen Fletcher's on 6 now. He's been out injured for a period. Joe's coming back, and Joe would normally chip in with a few goals as well. We probably haven't done as well from set pieces. But when I look at the goals, for example, Norwich are top of the league and they've only scored 3 more goals than us. So it's not that we're a million miles away. I think Watford have scored less than us and are still in the top 6. So, where we've probably been a little bit disappointed is maybe where we've conceded as well. Despite the fact that we kept 13 clean sheets, I think in games where we have conceded, we've conceded, a couple of goals on occasions, which makes it more difficult to win games in that situation. But certainly, we want to add to the goals tally. We believe we brought players to the club that we felt could contribute to that, in Clark and Matondo particularly. James had 7 goals last year, and he's not hitting those targets at the minute. Sam Clucas 11 last season. But yeah, we need goals from all over the pitch, and certainly, as I say, that's what we've been looking to improve on, and will do consistently between now and the end of the season.
It's interesting, you stole my thunder there. Norwich has scored 35, Stoke have got 32, but Stoke's conversion rate is much better. So if you could just get a few more chances, it would turn around some of these draws into wins. But you've said the organisation of the team is good. It's quite obvious that the organisation is good. And you've always said that the club was a work in progress. So how difficult is it for you personally, and how frustrating do you find it when you hear people saying the season's probably over now? We all know Stoke need to go on a good run. But do you find it frustrating when you've taken the team from the depths of despair last season to a team that's fighting or near fighting to get into the playoffs?
Not really. I wasn't aware they were saying that, to be honest. So and to be perfectly honest, I don't really listen to that. What people have to realise is, you're right. We were bottom of the league. We have 11 players out on loan. We have a whole team of players that were signed for this club, either in the Premier League or in the Championship, with the aim of helping the club get back to the Premier League, and for one reason or another, it hasn't particularly worked out for either party. So I think it's a massive jump to go from the 2 seasons we've been in the Championship, we've been 15th and 16th, to suddenly think that we can be a promotion team based on the 2 seasons that we've had previously. I think is unrealistic. There's a big transition needed in the playing staff, continually will be. We've started that process, and we've, as I said at the right at the outset of the season, our aim was to be in the top half of the table and hopefully try and make a push for the top 6, and that hasn't changed. We're 6 points off the top 6. I think, what do we have? 18 games left, so there's still a lot of games to be played. But it's not like we've spent a lot of money on this team, really, if you look at the players that are playing at this minute in time. But the club are still suffering a little bit from, their early years in the Championship and the last season in the Premier League. So there's loads to play for, but I never anticipated to be able to build a team that would automatically challenge to go up in 12 months. I think there's a lot more to it than that. And, I'll just continue to work as hard as we can, the staff will, to try and make that progression. But one thing we do look at, you've no divine right, because you've been in the Premier League, just to step back into it. There's a lot of big clubs like Stoke City that have spent a lot of years in the Championship. And so we've got to make sure that, our return to the Premier League is as quick as possible. But we shouldn't underestimate how difficult that'll be.
And could we have any update on injuries? Is Nick Powell fit?
Yeah, Nick's trained this week, so yeah, Nick should be fit, and we have no other injury concerns. The only one, obviously, is Rhys Norrington-Davies is still suspended, and everyone else is fine.
So Chester's back, and Fox has had no great.
No reaction.
COVID? Anything on COVID? Everything okay?
We've full test today, all negative. So that's something we're really, really good at, the COVID testing. So we just got to replicate that in the final third of the pitch.
And lastly from me, any update on the Ryan Shawcross situation?
No real update. I mean, I know talks are ongoing between Ryan and the club, and with the MLS club. Ryan is very keen to explore the opportunity, and I think take the opportunity if it comes to fruition. And I think it's a great opportunity for the player personally as well. But as yet, as I say, the discussions are not with me; they're with obviously the club and Ryan as representatives. So we're optimistic, and I think Ryan's very keen to say see things move forward. So I anticipate something will happen shortly on that.
Well, good luck, and hopefully you can get home and have a drink after Saturday.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thanks. George, now if you unmute and fire away, please.
Thanks for joining us, Michael. Obviously, just touching momentarily on the monotonous situations. You say you are privileged, like possibly we are in certain times, because you do get to games. The monotony can come to play. So when you move and you are going away to away games, is it hard to sort of maintain the focus and the frustration as you prepare for the game? Like you're travelling tomorrow, then you've got to prepare yourself for the game on Saturday.
I don't think it's been too bad. Some of the away trips have been difficult. What we've tried to do is leave later. We've eaten here at the training ground and travelled really so that we aim to arrive at the hotel for possibly 8:30 to 9, which means then the players only need really a snack and they go to bed and they get up in the morning and so that our time, we've tried to minimise the time in the hotel basically. So it's not been overly difficult. It's just a change to the normal routine. Normally you would come in a Friday, you'd get things done and you'd be aiming to get on the coach for 1:30, 2 o'clock. So what we've typically done is we've moved everything back, and then it means that our time in the hotel is less, and we feel that the players are benefit from that. The players certainly have indicated their preference for that in the current climate, and as I say, we'll continue with that.
Because previously, when you've gone away, you've probably had time for a short, sharp training session. That's probably out the door now, Michael, isn't it?
No. I mean, we're still able to train on the Friday. Like tomorrow we still train and everything. So it's not changed that. We just have to alter our timings. Really, it hasn't affected our preparation in terms of what we do on the pitch. It's just more about the logistics of how we travel and obviously our arrival times at the hotel. So we couldn't say that at any time it's compromised our preparation.
And moving on to Norwich, you said you've already alluded to, obviously they'll be smarting by that, but it's just one defeat and they'll be looking to bounce back. And they have a set system. We've faced it before, you faced it before, the team have. And certainly they do have this power to counter-attack, particularly from, I suppose, really straight from the keeper, aren't they?
Well, they've got good players, and they've had players who've been successful in this league and got promoted. They've then had obviously a taste of the Premier League and they've come down again. So that's a good combination because those players are hungry to go back. For many of them, it was probably their first year playing in the Premier League as well. So that's a nice, I think, blend to have in your club in terms of hungry players with a real desire to get to the Premier League. I think they have a good squad at a nice age as well. They've done a lot of work in terms of bringing players through, and that was successful in helping them get up. But they've added good players in key areas. The likes of Pookie's a perfect example of that. Ben Gibson's has been a good signing for them in their back four as well. Like very experienced goalkeeper in Tim Krul. So we know that they're a good side. They've proven that their previous year in the Championship when they went up as champions. And they're proving it again this year. But our focus is on. We're fully aware of obviously the task that we face in playing a very good Norwich team. But we felt we were well in the game at home, and we believe that we're capable of going there and get a result.
You touched on goals maybe in the return, but you are creating an awful lot of chances in every game, Michael. You got the clean sheets, of course, but percentage-wise, chances-wise, you are creating an awful lot. So you must be disappointed that clinical finish is just missing slightly.
Well, yeah, I think we've created a lot of opportunities that maybe we've not created really clear-cut chances from. We haven't missed. We had a good chance, obviously, in the game on Saturday where James could possibly do better with his finish. The goalkeeper saves it. But, we continued to work. We felt, obviously, in the window that we needed to bring the likes of Clark and Matondo to the club. It would add a new dimension to us. Their young players settling in as well. I think we're starting to see the best of Stephen Fletcher again. Post-injury, it's taken him a couple of games to get back, as we knew it would. But I thought he was very good for us in the game on Saturday. Unlucky with the goal that he scored. You know, he just gets himself, he drifts. He kind of tries to read the first cross, and then because of that, he drifts in an offside position, which he comes back to score from. It's a great finish. And we're just looking for something to drop, really. You know, that's the biggest challenge for us now, to continue to believe in how the team are playing, consistent with the work that we do in the training pitch. And we believe that will turn into, you know, at times where we've had dominance in the games, that we can turn that dominance into clear-cut opportunity and hopefully goals.
Thanks for joining us, Michael. Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks, George.
Just Dave and then the written guys, please.
Hi, Michael.
Hi, Dave.
In a previous question, reference was made to sort of like the views of fans and the things that they say, and of course, not having the fans in the ground, there isn't that sort of banter that you sort of pick up on from probably people shouting from behind you when you're on the touchline. Do
you mean abuse? Is that banter's a polite way of abuse? Is it right? Okay.
Yeah, it's my new definition of banter, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. But I was going to say, do you miss that, or do you feel sort of like you miss knowing directly what supporters are feeling and saying?
I think we miss fans in the stadium. In the ideal world, you hope that, you know, that they're not that they're being positive about how the team is playing. To be honest, like the supporters were fantastic for us last year because we really, really needed them. When the club was in a difficult position. We've obviously not had them since March, so we're nearly 12 months without supporters. I suppose you become a little bit accustomed to that, really, and it'll be probably strange for us when the supporters do come back into the stadium after being away for so long. But no, look, you're always aware of what your supporters are thinking of your team, and that's, you know, at the end of the day, they're the people that you're trying to please. As a manager, you're trying to please the owners and the supporters more than anyone else. That's the job that you're in, and I think that, you know, I think it's a shame for us because I think as a team, there's been a lot of development in the team in that period, and maybe the supporters, you know, haven't seen that. There's a lot. The team is a lot younger. I was looking this week at the squad, and you know, if we take everyone into consideration with the young goalkeepers, we have 27 players, and 10 of those players are 21 and under. So that gives you an indication. That's over a third of our squad, for example, is 21 and under. So the age profile of the players has changed in that period of time as well. And you know, hopefully, as I say, when the supporters are able to come back, you know, they'll see a team that they like how it plays, and they see a team that, you know, is determined to do well for Stoke City.
And also, obviously, as you've been sort of saying, you want to see they want to see a team that scores a lot of goals. And one player I think that has certainly made an impression, well, on a lot of people this season is Jordan Thompson, particularly from set pieces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jordan's he's done very well. You know, if I look at him, he's been at the club just over 12 months now. You know, and we brought him from Blackpool. Obviously, I knew him firsthand from his involvement, which wasn't a long period. Jordan had only come into the international squad with Northern Ireland probably in the 12 months prior to joining Stoke. But, you know, he was a very talented player as a young boy. He'd lost his way a little bit, so I knew there was a player in there. And I wanted to bring players that were hungry to do well, and Jordan's certainly proven to do that. His delivery is excellent from set pieces. He's also, I think, been very good in the games. You know, I think when any player steps up from League One, they have to bridge that gap to the Championship. And I think, you know, over the 12 months, Jordan's done that. He's become an important player for us in our squad. And, you know, he's still at an age where there's loads of improvement in him. And as I say, it's good for us because I think I needed to see that we could shop in that market. You know, we have spent a lot of money on midfield players in the past, and it hasn't proven to really benefit the club. So it's nice when you buy a player for what we paid for Jordan Thompson, that, you know, he's had a real positive impact in the time that he's been here.